In this series, I'm going to focus on playing games that come out of the roguelike or roguelite genre. With over 1,000 games on Steam tagged as one of those two, there's really not going to be a shortage of things to try out. I'm not always looking to play the most popular titles, but I am looking to find some new games and some things that people might have missed along the way. There's so many crossovers from other genres, anything's worth trying. The first game on our list is Gunfire Reborn. With overwhelmingly positive reviews, it's something I couldn't pass up the opportunity to play. With reviews comparing it to Borderlands, Risk of Rain, and 3D Gungeon, I went in with high hopes. At the start of the game, there's only one character available to you. Currently, in early access, there's only 2 characters in total. It takes getting to level 30 to unlock the second character. As you progress through the dungeon, you're rewarded with scrolls that augment and change the abilities that your characters have. There is an element of RNG depending on which ones you get, but in certain circumstances, depending on challenge modes, you get the opportunity to pick one of 3. This choice and RNG combination makes each playthrough play very differently. There are currently 3 different map tile sets. Each map has its own unique creatures. Each creature has its own unique abilities, even though some of them do feel recycled. Some of the comments refer to this as a roguelike Borderlands. I think the inspiration comes from the fact that by the time of this recording, there's 51 guns available. As long as RNG is on your side, there's going to be plenty of gun drops to choose from. There is a built-in matchmaking function that seems pretty solid. I haven't run into too many toxic players yet. The core concept of gameplay revolves around 3 different element types. Each element type has an advantage against a certain type of shield. It is a bit of rock, paper, scissors, and unfortunately as a solo player, you can only carry 2 types of guns at a time. There's 3 types of shields, which means eventually you're going to come up against something that has a shield you can't take down easily. Overall, the gunplay is pretty satisfying. Most of the guns feel pretty complete. After clearing most of the rooms in the game, you're rewarded with a chest, and in that chest, there's either a golden goblet or a scroll. Golden goblets are unique to the character you're playing. Scrolls can be shared and dropped for other players as well. Both sets of these items affect the way that the game plays. Due to RNG, it really increases the replayability. Another interesting variable is chests that are a little bit of a gamble. Sometimes you can pay money, sometimes you're giving them a scroll and a chance for a better scroll, and sometimes you're sacrificing your health for something random. Although the individual rooms aren't randomly generated, they are randomly ordered. There's a handful of them, and you only see 4 or 5 of them per run. Some rooms have vaults that you can shoot to unlock. Those vaults can contain mini-bosses or challenges that upon completion will reward you with more scrolls. The creative element to this game is that not all scrolls are straightforward. Some of them actually have something that'll hurt you in return for a benefit. After clearing 4 to 5 rooms, depending on which map you're choosing, you end up in a boss encounter. Directly before the boss encounter, you have the opportunity to buy something from a peddler or upgrade a weapon from the craftsmith. Both of these NPCs have a chance at spawning in any of the previous rooms. Until you've leveled up a bit, the bosses really do put up a good challenge. Eventually, though, the first boss does just become a loot pinata. Fortunately, the developers have added an elite mode which increases the difficulty. Outside of the first dungeon map, there's also a desert map and a swamp map. Jump puzzles have been scattered throughout some vaults, awarding you with one of 3 scrolls upon completing it within the time limit. Eventually, like any good roguelike, you're gonna die. It's part of the game. If you're playing solo, there's an option to self-revive once. If you're playing as a group, you can do that as well, but the added benefit of playing as a group is that you actually have a revive system. Unfortunately, to self-revive, you have to use soul fragments. Soul fragments are the resource you use to level up your character. It's a bit of a double-edged sword. Overall, the ways that you can upgrade your character aren't too mind-blowing, but this is early access. The final product might not look anything like this. The system does feel impactful, so when you do die, you still feel like you're making progress. My overall opinion of Gunfire Reborn is incredibly positive. My friends and I have been playing this game for most evenings, and I feel like the replayability is there for us to continue to play. Even as a solo game, it's still fun. With all the different builds that can be created, the different synergies between weapons, damage types, and scrolls, the replayability for this game seems very promising. Of course, it's an early access game. We've all been there before. Who knows if they're going to continue to update this and support this, but so far, I've been pretty impressed with the amount of content that they've updated just in the past few weeks. Some key takeaways for this game. It does feel slow from the beginning. It does quickly ramp up. The gunplay is incredibly satisfying. There's something perfect about the way the sound happens when you get a headshot. Despite the overall lack of content and limited maps, the value is there for the current price tag. I'd recommend checking this game out, especially if you have a good group of friends to play with. The next title on this list is one that I had never actually heard of before. The only way I found it was by going to the Roguelite tags in Steam and filtering by the least expensive. At the time of recording, it's 99 cents. Full price is $1.99. I think at full price, it's still holding its value. It does look and feel like a mobile game, but some of the mobile games that are out there have more content than this. Regardless, for what you get, I can't complain. The overall concept of the game is really simple. You're a sloth, you get on a boat, you have to fight a boss, you have to get your sail from that boss, and then sail home. Really simple. You have to kill enough monsters to get coins, to buy items, to kill more monsters, to get more coins. You get the picture. The idea is to defeat the fish boss and get your sail. Melee's good against most creatures, including ghosts. Ranged can cleave. Helmets have HP. There's really not a whole lot more than that. This is a roguelite in the loose sense of the term. By dying, you lose half of your money. Your weapons and your items persist past death. Besides the boss dungeon, there's only one other map where you can actually encounter other mobs to fight. There's a teleporter on the left and right side of the map that endless waves spawn from both. Each wave gets more difficult as the game progresses, and there's different monsters dedicated to each wave. It's really additive in nature. You start with slimes, you get stronger slimes, you get slimes and snakes, you get the picture. I never made it past 42 waves, and that's how long it took me to get enough gear to actually beat the boss. That was without me really rushing it. I'm not sure how many people have purchased this game. There's only 22 reviews. They're 100% positive, but what I'd like to see from the developers is potentially some new maps, some new spawns. Just taking anything from the roguelike genre would help. It's a hack and slash. You get more coins, you get more gear. There's definitely progression to it, and it doesn't feel bad. The only questionable gameplay sometimes is the AI has a hard time pathing, and outside of pathing, the only other problem I came across was the inability to reset the game. I don't know, I might just be missing it, but even if you go to the merchant and you buy the starter sword and boomerang, the helmet still keeps you at the maximum 10,000 HP. Even after sailing away and beating the game, you load back in with your max gear and max health. If someone knows how to reset it, let me know. I'd love to start from scratch. Of course, here I am complaining about a 99-cent game. There's really no room to complain. If you just want to kill time, this is perfect. It's mindless fun. You really don't have to think too hard about what you're doing. I'm sure it has a lot of playability for anybody that loves endless mechanics of wave spawns. I got to 42 waves at most. I'm not really sure what's after that. There's a lot of mobs I probably haven't seen, but like I said, all it took me was about 42 waves to get to the final boss. Of course, you die along the way. I died a lot. There's times where you think you're going to be fine, but somehow the janky range from mobs attacks gets you. I think it's a bargain at 99 cents. I think it's a bargain at $1.99. I'd recommend picking this up, if anything, just to support the development team, take Toad, and the hour and an hour and a half worth of content that you get. If there's any games that you feel got mixed or negative reviews for no reason, let me know. I'd be more than happy to check them out. Like I said, my goal isn't just to find the most popular games. I don't mind digging through the trash.